Hey, everybody, welcome to another episode of the Messy Show podcast. This week we have a very special guest. Before we get to him, I want to remind you guys to make sure you're sending us your messy stories to messyshowpod@gmail.com, or you can DM directly to me. I'm giving you permission to slide into my DMs and say whatever you want to say to me. You can do the same thing to Katie too. She can use the
Yes.
excitement in her life. So we'll say that. I'm sure DMs are a lot more calm than mine. So do it to Katie. DM me also. Anything you want to do. Voice notes also work. I love to hear that. But if not, you can do it. You can send us messages on Twitter. And like I said, email us at messyshowpod dot messyshowpod@gmail.com. I never can
Yes,
remember that shit.
nailed it. That's all right. That was good.
I mean, for me, it's the best that I've done because I'm so like I don't think I made that email. Did I make that email or did you make it? I think you did.
I made it, but it does not. I mean, I feel like it matches everything else that we have, but for some reason, when you get to the email,
I just can't remember that shit. It's
you
so
turn
bad.
into me.
God, messy. So anyway,
Yes.
like I said, we have a very special guest here. We have Brandon Salerno. Brandon, say hello.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank
Oh,
you
that's
for
so
being
timid. I thought he would
here.
be like a lot more. Like, okay, so Brandon, of course, is a stand-up comedian who's actually very loud. I call him a loud
Oh,
comic.
God.
Katie is also
Oh.
a loud comic. No, I'm very. I'm not
Yeah.
loud, so I always know comedians who are high energy and loud. So it's
Mhm.
so weird to hear you so like subdued.
I'm definitely, I feel like more of like an act out, especially some of the bits.
Yes.
And that
Oh
gets,
yeah.
very loud, a lot of sound effects. It's very like voiceover actor, but like on stage. It's a
I
lot.
like it.
Yes, very much so. So yes, so of course, like I said, you're a comedian, and could you let everybody know like what you're working on now, where they can find you, things like that?
Yeah, sure. I You can find me at Brandon Zactor, Brandon S Actor, Brandon Sactor, however you want to pronounce it. On Instagram, my website brandonsalerno.com. Right now, I'm actually in the process of forming a physical comedy troupe, a combination of clown, commedia dell'arte, buffon, all to put on an original farce. So that's actually it's I did Commedia dell'arte. It's like the Italian mask comedy
Mm-hmm.
before COVID, and then obviously that would have just been weird, a mask on a mask during COVID.
Now
And
see, no
What is
wait,
that?
that's
What?
actually cool. That's cool because like I did notice that on your social media. Now I don't know anything about the Italian mass because I'm not cultured. I just knew like I recognized some of them from like the beginnings and ends of the Three Stooges. So I was like,
Oh
those
yes,
look
Oh.
familiar to
it's in
me.
the same vein. Yes. And
Okay,
Yeah, we're going full steam ahead. Maybe we'll get into a fringe festival of some sort once we put something up, and
that's
that's
dope.
the project. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. I
I
hear if you can
don't
get into those
know.
Canadian French festivals, like that's pretty good.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about it because I
There's a lot of
hate
money
clowns.
in that. I'm just saying. You hate clowns.
Fucking hate them.
Well, I just tell everyone, I tell like friends and family, I'm like, I'm in a gay clown class. And they're
You're
like,
like, don't
"Hmm?"
worry, it's art. All right, don't worry
Yeah,
about
but
it.
like
Like
I add, they're
a
like,
gay clown
seriously,
class.
yeah, they think that they always ask me, they go, do you wear a red nose? And I'm like, well, that's level
Yeah.
2. I'm not there yet. Then yeah, like balloon animals, level 4, I got to work my way up. But no, it's actually an art. It's actually
Oh,
a,
I believe that it is. Like, I do
Oh, it
believe that
looks yeah.
it's an art I want nothing to do with. Like, it just they scare me. It's a lot. We went to I think it's pronounced Tivoli, which is the oldest amusement park in the world, I think, in Copenhagen, and their whole vibe is that clown guy, and it's like a mascot, and I was just like, ugh, still don't like it. Like, I just
I
it's
totally get it.
Uncultured
scary.
American swine.
I know. I played it real cool. I just like only told Josh.
That's good. That's the way to do it. So like that's really cool. You're doing that now. I know you also like you're a double threat. You also act, and you've been on some things that we've seen. Some
Yes.
Yeah.
really big things.
Yes, I was on The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel for 3 seasons, 3 episodes, 1 episode a season, which was literally like the best experience ever. And it's so sad. It's ending. The last season comes
Yeah.
out like in
Yeah.
next week, I think. So sad, but literally amazing. And then I was on the other two on HBO. We filmed that 2 weeks or 3 weeks before we shut down from COVID. And I waited like a year and a half to see that footage. And I was like, oh my God, please, please, please don't cut me.
That's the
And they
worst.
didn't, which was great. And yeah, it's been a crazy ride, but a really good ride.
That's great. COVID acting was cool.
I have a question for both
I
of
enjoyed
you.
it.
I have a
did.
question for you too. When you do a project, do you watch yourself on screen after, or do you avoid it?
Yes, I'm very vain. I need to say
I
that.
avoid it. There are so many times like people will be like, "Oh, I saw you on Equalizer or whatever," and I'm like, I have not seen it. Like I don't. I'm like,
I think
Who said that? Johnny Depp. I don't watch myself on camera. It's
But do you have the
I don't do
footage?
that.
Like, if you wanted to, or if you needed to send it to someone?
Oh, it's in my reel,
Oh,
but
great.
like I had somebody else do my reel
you're
for
like, I
me.
made a reel, but I don't watch it.
But I didn't make it. I had like a friend of mine like who does like production, like put together all this stuff, and I was like, "This is the episode. You find the mark, blah blah blah," and like all of that. Because like my stuff is like it's so all over the place. It's like all like thug bouncer thug, drug dealing bouncer thug. My range. I have such range.
Yeah, you're like, it's all over the place sometimes.
It's all orderly on Amsterdam, like that kind of thing. Very, very chic, very niche. So
I feel like I just wouldn't. I would definitely watch it. Like, I'd love to pretend like I wouldn't watch it, but I would just watch it and be like, oh, I'd rather watch a clown. Like that's
I mean,
how.
if you can watch, if you can watch your stand up set, you can watch yourself on TV.
It's hard for me to watch my stand up sets. Like,
Well,
I'll
me too.
listen
That's
to
why I don't
them
watch the
for
act.
yeah. Like, I'll listen to them for my own good, like to listen back. But when I'm editing videos, I'm just like, oh, Katie, what are you doing with the face? And like, why do you keep trying to suck your face into your neck? Like, why? Which it's actually, the videos have made me aware of like facial expressions that I've made and like ways I can add a laugh here or there. But it's not like fun to watch. I'm just like, oh, I hate that. Okay, let's just move it along.
There was one time when I was just starting with stand up and I went to an open mic and I was like, I'm gonna like try and look like fashionable, like trendy at this open mic. And I rolled up my jeans like to be like a little like almost like not like capris, but like like I rolled them up a little bit.
Tease.
Look like stylish, whatever.
Yeah.
My friend videotaped me, I watched it back. It looked like I rolled up my pants to like wade through water. Like I was like so high on my leg. And I was like, what was I doing? Like everyone thought like this guy's a freak. Like, did he just come out of a flood? Like I was so embarrassed. I was like, okay, well, not using that.
I hear a lot of people talking about regrets when they started comedy. That's the first one I've heard because of like something you wore.
I wore an outfit to a show and like 7 different women in their 20s were like, I love your outfit. And like one girl was like, that's the cutest outfit. And I was like, oh my God, thank you. And then I like go on stage with the confidence of like compliments from women in their 20s. And I was like, yeah, that's right. I'm like looking so good. And I watched the tape and then someone took a picture and I was like, what the fuck? This is the ugliest fucking outfit I have ever worn. Like I looked like I got dressed in multiple potato sacks. Like I was like, oh, let's do like a black potato sack for your pants. And let's do like a not the same kind of black for your top. And I was just like, I've never looked uglier, frumpier. And these women were like, oh, that outfit is so cute. And I was like, oh
that's
my God,
Gen Z for you.
I know.
You know what I did once?
Like,
and I was literally, I was like, why didn't anyone tell me this? I wore shorts.
Oh.
At Gotham. On stage at Gotham. And I was like, and then someone texted me, a comedian texted me after and was like, did you get were you attempted assassination after that? And I was like, no. And I was like, what do you mean? And I missed that rule. And I know, and now I know that's like a big rule, right?
Like, I break that rule all the time.
He breaks it.
Oh,
he wears hoochie daddy shorts. Like not only is he wearing shorts, yeah.
as my mother and her mother before, showing the fuck will. I will. I don't give a damn. That's so stupid. Like how
I
am I
thought that was
supposed?
stupid too.
Why I have to wear a certain outfit? We ain't got the same skin. Why we got to wear the same clothes? Fuck you. Like no. I'm fat. It's
Everyone,
hot. I'm performing stand up all over this hot ass city, and you telling me I can't wear shorts because I'm
right?
not what? I'm not serious if I don't wear shorts. Fuck off. I've been watching Succession. Fuck off.
I was gonna say, so many act outs are happening in this monologue about your shorts.
I just don't care.
Anytime a man says I don't care after yelling, he definitely doesn't care. I have to tell you guys, it's sort of a here's a question, but it's also I'm just still laughing about it. So I have this little bedroom that we've turned into an office, or I've turned into an office, and the last
Oh, the girl
thing
boss
that
office.
the girl boss office, yeah, it's
It
so
has
like
like a leopard chair, skin print chair, and like a
it is
Dalmatian
not.
looking
It's
rug.
mustard yellow.
It's
The leopard chair is too much. It's a mustard chair. It's really cute, and there is like a
it looks like it
Dalmatian
was
print
designed for
rug.
ABC Family. Like
It does
let's go
look
to her
like
home office.
it looks like a foster bedroom. Like it looks like the living room in a foster house on an ABC Family show. You know what
Wait,
I
why
mean?
aren't
Like
you in there now?
because we're working on it,
Oh,
and this is part of it is because look at instead I'm in a fucking like Pornhub for gamer room like
I love that
and
room.
so
There's so many controllers and games
it's
in that
so
basement where she is. I can stay down there forever. You complain
this
about it, but that's because you're dumb.
I know this is my this is my boyfriend's boy boss room. But all I want are these stupid pegboards up so then I can have something cute behind me in that room. And Josh is my boyfriend, and he was like, I'm not like I kept like asking like every 3 weeks I'd be like, can we just hang these fucking pegboards up, because I hung everything else up, but he's like, I want to do that because they're weight bearing and blah blah. And then he's like, I'm not gonna put them up while you're gone. And I was like, okay, whatever. So he put them up today while I was gone, and they are very sturdy. But because they're sturdy, they're in these studs, which means they're like uneven with the desk. And I was literally like, he goes, oh, do you like it? And I go, oh, I thank you for doing it. And then we fucking died laughing for like an hour because I was like, do you think it looks good? And he goes, and then I just fucking lost my mind laughing. And so my here's a question is, if your partner like does a big project for you or like change something in your house that you think is awful, would you guys say something about it, or do you like live with it?
I would make several jokes about it throughout the day, like
Okay.
little one-offs, like it's a little
I didn't know
crooked.
you were a Gemini, Brandon.
Like,
Because that's what I did, Brandon.
Yeah. And then eventually, like, we'll be out with friends, and while he's there, I'll say, yeah, it looks horrible. And that's when I would, in
That's
telling
when
my
you'd
friends,
release.
yeah, that's when I would let
The
it
worst
go.
possible time.
Yep.
I would say it. I think this is no shock. I
Wait,
would say
yeah.
it as soon as I saw it. Like, what the fuck is this? Like, what is this? Like, what are you doing? No, I mean, it probably wouldn't. If
Yeah.
it's talked about with me before it happens, it probably wouldn't happen. I'm very
Yeah.
clear. I mean,
Wait, so are you
it's
gonna leave them
important in a
up, or
relationship to be
are you gonna?
upfront.
Oh, he'll take them down. He
Oh,
would be
Yeah.
right, Quinn? Yeah, he would be
No,
like,
I didn't put
no.
them up. I'm not taking them down. They're gonna come down now.
oh no, I meant you, Katie. Are you gonna leave yours up, or are you
Oh
gonna?
no, we're fixing it.
Oh, okay.
Because I go,
Oh
oh, I
no.
thank you so much. And then I was like, you know what? I could just change I could push stuff over. I could make this a gallery wall. I just have to like push the desk over, and then that meant like the chair, the mustard colored chair was like now smushed with the desk. So I'm like, I'll just swap the chairs. So then I like swapped the chairs, and he was just watching, and he's like, I put these up, and I looked at him, and I said, I know Katie's gonna hate this, and I go, and then you still did it. And so we're gonna adjust. We're gonna adjust and adapt. We're gonna move the placement a little bit, but
I mean, you have to get what you want. Like, it's your space. Like, you don't want to. I don't think you should ever. Like, my rule is, I'm black. All right, I'm already screwed in a lot of ways. I'm not gonna be unhappy in the ways that I could be unhappy. I mean, not be unhappy if I can help it. And if that means that
yeah,
I'm going to say, I'm not eating this nasty food, or this is ugly, take this down, or I don't
yeah,
want to go, stop asking me, then those are the things that I'm going to do. That's part of self-care for me.
okay.
I don't know what y'all excuse will be. Y'all can do whatever y'all want.
I was gonna say, I'm like, as a people pleaser, I did sit in the chair. I moved it. It didn't look good. I swapped the chairs back. I just sat in the chair, and I go, you know, we can just leave it. It's fine. And Josh started dying laughing. He's like, we're not leaving it. he goes,
That's Katie for I
he goes,
hate this.
exactly. Yes, he was like, you were literally like, thank you so much. I hate it.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
you
that's
guys
it.
know
And
what I did. I wanted these plants hung in the living room, and Josh does not care about plants. And so he was gone, and I hung them. And because I knew that he does not care enough to fix it, so I hung these plants, and he came home and he goes, what the fuck? And I was like, oh, yeah, I thought that you would like them. And he was like, no. And like we're so opposite. Like he was like, "What the fuck?" And I was like, "Yeah, you don't like him?" And he's like, "No." And then I go, "Oh, well, how about this? Just keep it for like a week, and then if you don't like it, we'll move it." Because I was like, that bitch is gonna forget what the living room looks like in a week. Like he sees a couch and a TV, and that's all he sees. And then those things have been on the wall for the past 3 years. And then I wanted a rug under the bed, but I wanted it to be aesthetically pleasing. So only under half the bed, like coming out towards us so that it like looks cuter. And Josh was like, no, under the bed. So like an inch sticks out, you know, like basically like stupid, like the way a man would want a rug under the bed. And I put it the way I wanted. And he came upstairs and he goes, what the fuck? That's not what I was picturing. And then I go, oh, just leave it for a week and see if you still hate it.
it'll
And
never
it's
go
still there.
away. If a man can live with anything for a week, it'll be there forever.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, he won't even care anymore.
No, he won't care. It's funny now that you mention it. I'm surprised at how many rugs and plants are left out of men's man caves.
I know.
Not part of the design at all.
I know.
Go figure. I guess all plant dads are gay.
I guess so. I'm a plant dad. I don't regularly nurture it. I just pop in once in a while for fun time or if my friends are around. I'm like,
and
how
then
are
just
you
peace
guys
out.
doing? Yeah, and they're like, we're dead. Oh.
Tell it about sex and then just leave.
Yeah, exactly.
So of course, this is the messy show, as I'm sure you people. I'm not gonna call y'all messies. I'm steering the ship. I'm not doing that. If you like to be called little messies, you can wait until Katie is moderating. She's not, so she's gonna sit there and I'm gonna talk to you as adults.
Just wait a week, little messies, and see if you like it.
And because I'm a Leo just like that, I'm moderating for the rest of the year. So
and because I'm a Gemini, I just got my way.
Wait, are your super fans called Little Messies? That's adorable.
Yeah. You know what? We got a couple emails.
Don't do that, Brandon.
They both signed it Little Messy, so
that's so cute.
I've never tried so hard to
Brandon.
keep something from catching on. I try so hard to keep that
in
from
your
happening.
future.
Oh God.
Yes. I'm gonna get a shirt. I'm gonna make a shirt. This is Little Messy. It's happening. It's gonna be. You know what? By the time this podcast is released, I'm gonna have a shirt. There's gonna be a link to buy the shirt in the show notes. and I'm gonna have already purchased one. So, so go ahead.
You know what? I don't agree with that at all, but I will take any and all of the proceeds. So, speaking of that, we, of course, are the Messy Show. We have a lot of messy things going on. We like people telling messy stories. I'm told that, Brandon, you have a messy story you would like
I
to
do.
Yes.
share with us. And I've been kind of anxious for that. I love when people bring
And I don't
that.
know anything. I don't know anything about it, so I'm gonna try so hard to not interrupt. Go ahead.
Okay. Is there like a jingle I should start with? Messy stories. No.
Oh, I love it.
That actually would be nice.
That would be great.
So we need that like transition music.
We need a jingle.
Okay, great. So this was February 2019. My ex and I, at the time we were still dating, and we had been fighting like every week leading up to this point. Like there was always a disaster, a fight.
Mhm.
Basically, the bottom line with our issue was he was a part of my world, a big part, but I was his world. Clash there.
Mhm.
And one night, I was out with my friends without him, and he was out with a friend of his sister's at Rise. Rise before it was Rise and Shine, so pre the expansion. And
Historical.
yes.
I didn't know this was a historical drama. Go on.
A period piece, even.
And and he had issues with me hanging out without him.
Mhm.
And I started getting texts like, "Where are you? We meeting up?" And yeah, we were gonna meet up, totally fine. The text then devolved into, "I really need you. When are you showing up?" And it got drunker and drunker. And then I stopped answering because I'm with my friends now. I'll see you
Yeah.
tomorrow. It will be fine. And then I started getting messages, and my friends started getting messages from him saying, "I'm sick, I'm vomiting, I'm alone at Rise, I'm in the bathroom, I don't know where my friend went, I'm all by myself, I need you." And so I'm in love with this person. So I jump into action and I'm like, oh my God, like he's alone at a bar by himself, like not like sick. And like that, regardless of where you are, like it was like kind of like, it was like midnight, I think. And I was like, okay, it's getting like a little late. Like this is a weird situation. I don't know what happened to the friend, but fine, I will go and get him. Like, of course. I jump in an Uber. I'm on my way up, and because I was downtown, on my way uptown, and I call his sister because she lived in the city, and I was like, if he's really that sick and messed up, bring him to her apartment versus going. We were both living in Westchester at the time, and separately. And she's like, "Oh my God, I'll call my friend who he's with, and I'll see what happened." I get a call back or text actually 5 minutes later from her saying they're together and they're fine. What are you talking about?
Oh
And
no.
and I'm like, what? And I'm like, I have messages, like written
Yeah.
messages of him saying how sick he is and how he doesn't have anyone there and he's alone in the bathroom and he's passed out almost. Like I have the messages in
Yeah.
writing.
Oh, God.
Like so now my blood starts to boil. It's like in those
Yeah.
cartoons, like Bugs Bunny, like I'm
Your
starting.
head turned into a thermometer.
Screenshots.
Yeah. I'm like, oh my God, am I being lied? Like, am I being played right now? Like,
Emotionally manipulated.
Yeah.
I show up at Rise and I walk in and I'm like, where is he? Standing right there, perfectly fine, not even drunk, basically sober.
I mean, he had to come up with this idea.
And I'm furious at this point. And I'm screaming. I'm Italian. I'm screaming like a mob wife. Like, I'm like, where were you? What were you doing? Like, how could you? My heart, I had lasagna in the oven. Like, I'm going like full on.
You're like, I have agita.
Yeah, I have agita. Yes.
R.I.P. Big Ann.
Yep, exactly. My voice, I immediately have a smoker's voice. How could you? So totally out of nowhere. But we are, and then it's just from there it just devolved into a huge fight. And the friend was there and was like, I don't like no idea what was going on. And my ex said to me, he was like, well, I needed you and I wanted you here. And I was like, well, you lied. And you
Yeah.
totally betrayed any trust that I have with you now. Like, and he had done not things equal to that, but he had played games of like needing attention when attention wasn't being given 110% all the time. So this was just so crossing a line. And actually, it was so funny. Like, there was tears and like yelling in Rise. While it's like, while like the music is playing. What was like a song in 2019 that everyone loved? Like, um, I like it like that. Was that playing? Something like that's like blasting.
Maybe.
Cardi B blasting, and I'm like, how could you? Like, and so anyway, we start to leave, and the friend who had no idea. I swear to God, this happened. I swear to God, the friend who was with him grabs me right before I leave, and he goes, Brandon, I just wanted to tell you, because I was not really close to this person. I was like, yeah, like what? He goes, you were great on Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. And I was like, thank you so much.
Yeah, you were like, maybe we'll make it actually.
Thank you really for that, but like
Like, oh
not
my
right
God,
now.
thank you.
Yeah, not right now. My heart is literally breaking into two right now. Not right now. And the next day we broke up.
Wow.
How long
Locked
had you been
on.
together?
A little over a year. It's like 13 months.
Oh wow.
Mm-hmm.
So this,
If
I don't know, I Love Lucy, Ricardo of a person, they consistently did these stunts to get attention.
Oh
But
yeah.
this was the last straw
Yeah, I did
that
everything
made it
I
happen.
could to make excuses for him and try and be like, what can I do differently to
Yeah.
save this? Like, once we hit like 8 months in, I started to see the crazy come out.
Oh yeah.
And I really tried to salvage it. And I just couldn't. And oh well.
I in my 20s I had experiences like that, and then my solution was like, all right, fine, we'll just get married.
Yeah. I love that.
know.
I never get tired of hearing about Katie's marriage to that woman. That's
we went to a wedding, and it was her friend's wedding, so I know the least amount of people, right? So out of the two of us, who should feel uncomfortable, right? Like the person who knows everybody or the person who doesn't know everybody. And I was with like the girls, and we did a shot, and then like next thing I know, she's just really mad like that I was like talking to these like the wives, and I was just like, what? And it devolved into this like huge fight after the wedding. We're like at the bar, and then I made a bad choice, and I was like, oh, you want to like accuse me of like talking to people? I'll talk to someone. And I just found a random dude at the bar, and I was like, made this guy buy me drinks, and then like with zero intention of like talking in any real way, I was just like, buy me a drink, like basically.
Play a part in
just
this.
yeah, I gave you a role. You won the role of man who's gonna cause a fight. And we got in like a huge fight, and then she was like, I'm gonna like I basically like I realized like that was stupid, so I was just like, I'm not talking to that guy anymore or whatever. And I'm just like, you're out of control right now, like I'm driving you home. And she was like, no. And we were in her like our hometown, so we were like staying, her parents were like close by, so I was like, I'm dropping you off at your mother's house. And I called her mom, and I was like, I'm dropping your daughter off to you. And she punched not the mom, my ex punched my windshield from the inside and like cracked it. And I was like, dude, just drove the car totally normal. I like pulled in the driveway. I was like, get out. I'm not talking to you anymore, whatever. And then drove away to like wherever I was staying. And the next morning I was like she was like, I thought I was never gonna see you again after that. And I was like, oh, don't worry, I really gave it to her by being like, you have to pay to replace my windshield. Like that's how like I was like, oh, I don't know how to set a boundary. I know. And
Okay.
People are
yes,
crazy. The
I
crazies are
know.
out there. How do you know who's a crazy before you start
You
dating
don't.
them? How
I
do you
think
do that?
After a while, you
well,
kind of can see it coming. Like you
yeah, I
like
was just gonna say,
it's the warning signs of like being needy, manipulative,
yes.
Mm-hmm.
jealous. Those are the toxic traits for tops anyway. Those are things that
Yes.
you like anybody who's needy, anybody who's
Yeah.
manipulative, anybody who's extremely jealous, that's gonna be work.
Yeah. Well,
And
like it's
I've
so
learned that.
crazy. I could tell you the signs. I think for me, I was like, oh, I'm not quote unquote putting up with it because I'll get mad and say something and give you a consequence. But it's like, oh, the consequence should be I don't want to be around this person. Like I was
Yep.
like, but you don't like I didn't learn that was like an idea. Like I would tell everybody else break up with people. Like I was like, I
Right.
understand it on like a larger level, but like at the micro level of like of me, I would just be like, oh well, I like told her that she was a bitch and made her pay for everything and fix everything by herself and I didn't help and blah blah blah. And then I was like later I'm like, oh, all of these like we got in another fight because when we met, she was like, are you gay or bi? And I was like, oh, I'm bi. And then that was a problem for her. And so like one time
Mm.
yes, exactly. Which now I'm like, oh yeah,
Hmm.
that's a huge like I would tell anyone like don't even waste your time with that person. It's not going to go well. Um and we were married and she got mad that I wouldn't say that I was gay in the car and I go, I'm not going to lie to you. Like I
Oh
just
my
you
god.
should be grateful I'm not going to lie. And she took her ring and she threw it in the car. Like she threw it in the car. I don't remember if she threw it in the car or outside or it was close to our house. And so I just pulled in the driveway quietly and walked in the house and like took the dogs on a walk and like went about my day. And I was like, while she went to go find her ring because she like wasn't mad anymore. And that's the crazy stuff where like when I tell it out loud, I'm like, oh yeah, that's crazy. But like when I was living it, I would just like tell my friends like, oh, we're probably not gonna last. Like I had another friend who was in like a crappy relationship, and I was like, you guys might last because I was like, I don't think we're gonna last because I'm not willing to apologize for something I didn't do, and you kind of are willing to do that. And like it was in like a non-judgmental way, where I was just like, I think that might make your relationship last, and I don't see mine lasting. But I don't know why I just didn't end it when I was having those conversations with my friends. Instead,
Right.
I would just be like, I'll just wait till I get really mad. Like I
I
don't
think
know.
I think part of it is like because our emotions are invested. Like same, like rationally, like looking back, I'm like, I knew that this was not gonna last, and this is true.
Mm.
When he
Yeah.
told me that if I took an acting role where I had to kiss another person, that
Oh.
was cheating.
Yeah,
Oh.
that's insane.
Yeah,
Right
that's
away,
when
you're like,
I
okay.
should have known, but I was like,
Yeah.
because I still was in love with this person, I felt
Yeah.
like I needed to still fight like one more round to try
Yeah.
and make it
Yeah.
work.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
but
When
yeah,
like also it does like if that person feels that way, it's like you don't even need to be like, oh, you're toxic, which like his behavior is a little toxic. So maybe he is. But it also is just like, well, then we're not compatible. Cause
right.
like my whole life goals is gonna be making out with people on a screen. Like that's my goal is involved, it involves that. So if it, and it's kind of the same thing like in hindsight, I'm like, "Oh, thank God." Like, I don't think I would have ever been able to do stand up because she would have lost her fucking
Oh
mind.
yeah.
Because like, I'm texting people at midnight God about God knows what. My boyfriend doesn't give a shit because he know like I'll show him what the texts are and
Hmm.
it's literally like that bit you did was really funny, but I think if you like fart louder, it'll be better. You know, like and it's like that's just like the time that those conversations happen because we're driving home from shows. But like she would have been like, who are you talking to? What is that? Who are you know? I think about that now and I'm like, God, thank God I got out of that relationship when I did.
If he
Yeah.
knew that I was a clown,
Yeah.
could you imagine? Like, that would be. I don't even know how would I even explain that. Like, disaster.
Yeah.
That's a definite deal breaker.
Yeah.
He's like, if you even mime kissing another
Yes,
person,
yes.
that is cheating.
You make someone else a balloon animal.
Yeah.
It's over.
It's
If your
cheating.
balloon hot dog looks too much like a dick, that's cheating.
I don't know.
Crazy.
I think that it's like you said, you get emotionally invested in like things that people do. You make excuses for them, and you like,
Yeah.
this isn't weird. This person isn't crazy. Because
Mhm.
when normally in situations like that, when it's good, it's pretty good, and then when it's not, it's it's really bad.
Yeah.
Things get
Well,
destroyed, and it's been.
I
I've had some bad experiences, but
I
um,
read this marketing book and later I was like, "Oh, I think it was the psychology of marketing." And they did studies that like if people had um the basically the gist of it was if people commit a little bit to something, our brains like really want that to work, so we will end up making bigger sacrifices than we would have if someone just asks for the big thing first.
Mm.
So like the study they did was like they went around and asked people in this neighborhood like, will you put these big signs in your yard? And people were like, no. And then they went around and they were like, will you put this little sign in your yard? And they were like, okay. And then after like 30 days, they were like, hey, you already have this little sign. Would you put this big sign up? And like the percentage of people who put the big sign up was dramatically higher
Mm.
than when you just asked them when they had been doing nothing. And I think it's like the same thing with the relationship where you give a little bit and then you give and you give and you're just like, well, it's just a little bit more. And then all of a sudden you're like, wait, I'm like not even myself anymore. What is going on?
mhm.
What happened? Like, wait a minute. And I feel like you see it happening, but it's in slow motion.
Almost like an
And
out of
then
body thing.
it is, yeah. And then you like step back and you're like, wait a minute, like what the fuck? Like
Now you recognize this
what was
bitch.
I doing?
Yeah, that's the
Yeah.
way it goes. I'm also here for arguing in public. Like I have no shame in arguing in public. Like I come from people who make a scene. So I appreciate that. Um I remember I got into a public argument in a gay bar, and it was so bad and so attention grabbing that the drag queens started like talking shit and like inserting themselves into the fight.
Oh,
What was the fight? What was it
what
about?
bar was it?
I don't remember. I believe it was. Oh God, I don't think this bar exists anymore because this was a long time ago. I think it was therapy, maybe.
Mm.
What a place.
Yeah, it was somewhere. It was therapy, maybe industry. It was somewhere in that area, and
Okay.
I was like talking to somebody, and it was this very weird thing where we weren't committed, but we both act like we were to a certain degree. And
Mhm.
I can't remember exactly what we were arguing about. Probably something I did. And like it just blew up into this whole big thing. We had been kind of like arguing through text all day. And like I just like we had been drinking and I just like went the fuck off. Like I just like you like take that moment and be like, I have two roads before me. I
Yes.
can get up quietly and take this on the chin and be an adult and look like I'm not crazy. Or I can stand here, dig my heels in, and let this motherfucker have it. And I chose door number 2.
You
And
know what though? Door number 2, I have found I enjoy it because it's almost like an acting exercise. It's like
Sometimes, yes.
this is where I test my dramatic because mostly I do comedy, so I'm like, oh, this
mhm.
is a great way to do a little Stanislavski work,
Yes.
do a little method, and so I would say take that, take the good that comes from
always,
it.
always take the door number. Like always take the public altercation, the public conflict. But yeah, it was like crazy. So then the drag queens were like, they were like, so they were like, ooh, and they like doing this whole. It was like a whole like soundboard, like ooh, girl, ooh, all this stuff. And like we had this whole thing, and then when I was leaving, one of the drag queens was like, "You can go home with me though," and I was like, "No, thank you." And I like, and then I heard one of the other drag queens, "Bitch, you tried it," and then I left. It was great. I get it. It's great to see somebody who's as tall as you when you're in your heels, but no, thank you.
If you, I love watching other couples fight in public. Like it's so
or
nice.
neighbors,
It's
like my
really
neighbors.
funny.
The
That's the
people above
best.
me, they screaming, and I think they have kids, and one of them is just learning to walk.
Oh
And is
God.
boom, 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 boom. And like I'll be recording. I had to. I recorded it was a callback for a video game playing a World War II soldier. Me playing that.
Wow.
And
Well, I don't know. I would think a lot of loud Italians went to war in World War II.
Hey, grenade! Like that's not Brandon. You know,
I said,
so,
Brandon.
my agita, yeah. When's dinner? But mine was. I was really. I was like, throw the grenade! Like there are Nazis coming or something. And I had to go to all my neighbors and say, please do not call the cops because I am screaming like I'm being shot, help! And and they scream upstairs. It's very loud in here. Yes,
that's very funny.
Very entertaining.
I love it.
Oh
I just picture him being like, "Don't kill me! I have to get back to my pasta shop in Quin, in Brooklyn.
I have to get back to my mama.
My mama." I mean, I assume those are the people who were sent overseas. I mean, America ain't changed that much, right?
You think it was just pasta shop owners?
I mean, yeah, like back then, like Italian people weren't even white back then, so I'm pretty sure they got the shit in of the draft. I'm just assuming.
Do you know that I recently I prank call. I was out to brunch. It was like a full day brunch thing, and my friends dared me to prank call one of my friends, and I was like, okay. So I star 6-7, like the whole like old school. Called my friend Annalisa, and I was like, hello, I have a pizza for delivery for you. And she was like, really? I didn't order a pizza. And she went with it. And then I called her back and I was like, Annalisa, how many British pizza delivery people do you know? What are you
like? This started out as a prank, but now we need to talk about your safety.
Yeah.
What is going on? She was like, oh, it sounded convincing.
This close to being a true crime. This close to being a true crime.
Yeah, right? Just get in this trunk and I'll give you this pizza. And she's like, okay.
If you meet me out front, I can hand you the pizza. Like, no, I can't do the accent, but you know.
I can't at all.
That's because you're already doing a normal accent and not that trashy Texas one you got.
Okay, hang on a minute. I have to tell you guys something. Okay, Brandon, I learned to speak. First of all, a man from Mexico taught me how to talk. Okay, a man from Mexico taught me how to speak English. You're lucky I got it. So I learned how to speak English in Texas.
You have a white mother.
I know, but she speaks better Spanish than my dad does. So my mom.
I hate white people like that.
I grew up in Texas, Brandon. So I had a twang, all right? And it went away for the most part. But also my dad was teaching me English, but with this like very strong Mexican accent. And then we moved to upstate New York. So now I say things like chair and asshole. Like, so I have all these different regional accents and mixing together, but some things have not gone away. Like I cannot say the word theater. Like I just tried so hard to say that for you guys.
Theater.
But Josh and I were watching a documentary, aka YouTube, and it was this man who designs movie theaters in Austin, Texas, and he has no accent, right? And he's like, I'm the architect for Draft House or whatever. And he's going through all these things, and then he just goes, yes, and in the 1920s they used to have these uh movie the way he goes, oh, in the 1920s they had movie theaters, and Josh and I just turn and look at each other and I go, ha ha ha, we got another one. I go, it's not just me, it's us, it's me and this man.
Maybe it's you two. And not for nothing, I'm not thrilled with how you say documentary. Okay?
Wait, say it.
What do I say? Documentary? Oh, is that wrong?
You didn't say that before.
Documentary. What did I say? Documentary?
You said documentary.
Whatever sounds poorer, that's the one I said.
I sometimes say open the drawer.
Do you?
The drawer.
I do sometimes say that. And I say talking, walking, coffee.
Okay.
Oh yeah, that's
New York,
totally
Queen.
New York.
I say pajamas.
I clean up my. You also say underpants
pajamas.
like some white woman in the 50s.
I
which
do
I don't
say
understand.
underpants.
Are you in line or online to get food?
In line.
In line.
Online.
I'm in the line. Oh no.
That's New York loves to say. I'm standing online. Like what are you talking about?
Online.
That's everybody trying to be on a mark at all times. I'm online, baby.
Okay, so I've learned to, like, growing up for me, like, my parents were, like, from the projects of Detroit. So my parents had some of the foulest mouths and worst diction you could ever imagine. It got better over the years as they became more professional.
Because you speak perfectly, I feel.
Well, I had to do double duty
like
because...
the neutral.
Yeah, because in school around, we were like the first black family on the block. So in public, I can speak white people, but when we used to come home and close the doors, it was Detroit all day. So that would change the way I would talk. Like, we would use words that aren't even real. Like, oh, I'm finna go do that. Like, it was bad. And like, we still talk that way, but we only talk that way with family. So it's almost like speaking another language.
So you're like, code switching.
Definitely code switching.
See, I'm this little public school educated whatever the fuck this is all the time. There's no changing it except for when I do a transatlantic accent to talk to Josh, where I just go, I couldn't possibly clean that up, I'm just a lady.
See, wait, I recently that's so funny. I recently did a show that was like for nothing but black people, which I never really get to do. And I was like, this is so cool. And I was like, and they were black gay men too. I was like, you're not using it right. You're not using it right. But
I could never code switch. Like, I can't even try.
It's so difficult. It's not difficult to code switch. It's difficult to like translate it to people hear it. Because I've like taken people home and they'll be like, what the hell does that mean? And I'm like, I can't really, because like somebody will say something to me, I'll be like, hecky no. And he'll be like, what is that? And I'm like, I don't really know what hecky no translates to.
Hecky no sounds like something from the South.
But it is Southern, because it's like Southern. Like, a lot of Ebonics is Southern.
Yeah.
It's hard to explain. But I was able to actually like speak that way during my stand-up, which I've never really done. And like,
but
that
so
was
do
like,
you like that? Like, is there...
It's comfortable for me.
But do you think that you would do it, like, do you feel weird codes? Like, do you feel weird changing the way that
I've been doing it for so long?
Yeah.
I do feel like...
feels the most comfortable?
Well, they both feel comfortable. They both feel comfortable to me. Because I don't speak that way with all black people, because, all skin folk ain't kinfolk. But it's always like kind of like a feeling of comfort. It's a comfort feeling. Like, I don't, so no. Oh, yeah. So you can say thirder at home in theater.
Thirder. I say thirder everywhere, okay?
Thirder.
It's like she's added a U and extra R and taken out the E, the E and the A.
There's like, it turns into THEER.
Just say plays.
I do. Josh will be like, I call it like the biblioteca. Like, I'm like, we're going to the cinema. Like, I act like an art house like person. Like, I'm just like, I'll go to the cinema and watch Mario Brothers.
I want to watch the new movie.
It was really good.
Despite Chris Pratt, I grew up calling it the show.
You'd go to the show?
Theater. We say the show. We're gonna go to the show. That's just what we would say. Okay. So maybe that will help you.
Maybe I would say go to the movies.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, That makes
Let's,
sense. That's what you're doing.
sorry. We just called it what it is. Sorry.
Yeah, I
Why is
mean,
it so
there's nothing.
boring? You right now, I feel like you're about to be like, we called it the Hinamaha. You know, it's a Detroit thing. I can't explain it to you. You want to go watch Mario Bros. At the
It's not a
Hinamaha?
Detroit thing. It's a black cultural thing. I'm just saying.
I feel like that feels like it's like a your family thing because it felt like there was like Southern aspects to
And
it.
Lord knows I'm the only black person with Southern family, right?
No, I just mean the combination of it occurring in Detroit because you
I'm telling
sound
you that
like
that's not it. I'm telling you that there are other black people I've spoken to
they do
who
the
do
exact same
speak
thing.
that way. Yeah. Maybe if TikTok blows it open, you'll see.
I'll find it
If
on Black Twitter next week.
Black Twitter. I told you I don't want to see you around Black Twitter, Katie. I'll know if you're there.
I'm in there. I just got
If
there.
I see
I
you
think this
nosing
happened.
around, I'm gonna
I've
let
been
them
in
know
there.
she's a culture vulture.
I've been
Don't
in
let
there,
her
baby. I'm just stealing all your words. Underpants, theater.
I call them draws. So
You know what it is?
underpants.
I can't say. Brandon, I always talk about Quin just being in his underpants, and I can't say underwear feels weird. Panties, I'm not. That's
Boxers.
No. But I just like
I
calling them
don't wear
underpants.
boxers though, usually.
No, he's wearing underpants. Like they're not boxers. They're definitely underpants.
Well, technically they're briefs. Okay. Technically.
Yeah.
You could just say underwear. I say underwear, or if I'm being black, Southern, I say draws. I see one or the other.
I say underpants when
Underpants.
I'm talking about your Instagram.
I feel like I'm talking to an old woman when you say underpants.
That's
so like,
the
don't you
vibe.
ever
That's
refer?
what I'm going
Don't
for.
you ever refer to my sexy underwear as underpants?
Okay? I'm actually desexualizing you.
When
I'm
I
trying
hear
to talk to you like a
underpants,
person. I'm
when
trying
I
to
hear
talk to you not like an
underpants,
object.
I want you to talk to me like an object. I'm a man, for God's sakes. When I hear underpants, I think about like underwear from the 40s, like with pockets on them.
I know.
Like I don't
that's
think
what
of.
I'm also envisioning that when I say it.
What about undergarments?
I could say that.
I would
Undergarments
say
feels
better
too
than
fancy
underpants.
for me. I went to public school.
Jesus. Okay, so I think this is a good place to wrap things up. How about you let everybody know where they can follow you, Brandon, for more of this hilariousness?
Yes, at Brandon Salerno on Instagram and my website, brandonsalerno.com.
And Katie, would you like people to tell people where they can find you in your theater underpants?
Me and my underpants. We're always talking about the theater over at Katie G Arroyo. You can email us if you have underpants story that you want to share with us. You can email us at messyshowpod@gmail.com.
I'm gonna put that in the story right now. What do you call your underwear? I'm gonna make that a story right now.
I do know that it's silly, but I don't want to talk about my friends in like a sexual way. So I'm desexualizing you. So that's why I'm like, oh, you should. I saw your underpants.
That's impossible,
picture.
Katie. It's impossible to desexualize me. I'm sorry. No, just kidding. But yes, I think everybody knows where they can find me.
Oh my God! Ew! I hated that. That was worse than when I tried to use the word finna. Get out of here.
We finna get out of here now. But thank you for listening, and we will see y'all next week. See ya.
Bye bye.